In this video, I would like to demonstrate how to do some trend analysis. We're going to do it with and without outliers, and we may explore an additional set of outliers with some additional removed, so you can kind of see how it affects those trends and forecasting. It's going to be a little tricky because we only have about 3 years of data, and we're also going to evaluate whether we can use the final year because of open claims. So just going to move this out of the way for a second. So now we're going to be doing the annual trending. Now this is probably the step that I've changed the most over the years since I created this. Well, it's been about a year. But let's go ahead and do it. So I'm going to bring over, copy and paste. So copy, create a new tab, and paste. And we're going to work from here. I'm going to move the outliers back up. And I'm going to do it with it in, and then I'm going to do it with it out. I'm going to get rid of this figure because it's just getting in the way. I just clicked on it and to hit delete. But I'm going to leave these two because then I can see both with and without. See, right now these things should be, after I put it up there, it'll be like, one thing I wanted to point out, and I want to thank Desiree for pointing this out to me. My original average claim was a little bit off. Okay, so these are just numbers, but back on the descriptives, I had accidentally put in row 3 to 626. It didn't change it much. It changed very little, but it did change. And so thank you, Desiree, for pointing that out in an email. I did make that change. So if your numbers were different than mine on that one particular statistic, that's why. All right, so we're going to go back down here. I'm going to leave everything except for I'm going to highlight the rows just with the data, hit a Control X, that's cut. Swing back up to the top. I'm going to go over here and hit paste. There we go. Now everything's back. Now when I go down here to my tables, they should equal. They should be the same. And indeed they are. Okay, there we go. Let's see if that goes up to D. Yeah, that goes up to D2, and those are just numbers from the first thing. So I should probably look at this to make sure. And a quick scan indicates that I believe they are the same. Okay, try to zoom this in for you. So we're going to be creating another table. I'm going to create it down below. So I'm going to try not to put things next to it. I'm going to try to keep building below. It's going to make things go. We can add it. We have all the space we need. I'm going to do this. What did I call this? Trend all. And I call it all because I'm going to be using all the data on this one. And then I'll create a new tab to do the outliers removed. So we'll go back over to here. I'm sorry. Go back over here. So I'm going to be creating this table. So fiscal year, count, medical, all the way down. This gets a little bit tricky, but we're going to be able to analyze the open claims, at least for the final years, to find out what percent they represent. So count claims, 0% open claims, max claim, percent max of for the full year. So we see what the influence is. And then we'll do a $0 claim per as well to see if that's pretty consistent or it goes all over the place. And I've got this equation, this box here that gives us the ranges without having to go up and count, because I used to do it all manually. Though it wouldn't be too difficult with this group, would it? All right, so fiscal year count, and then the medicals paid, and then we'll do an average claim. I'll copy that. And I want to go 2 over from the medical. Go back to our data. So medical is here, so I want to go 2 over. Paste. What? Okay, that didn't come out as I wanted to. Well, I know this is going to be fiscal year. I know this is going to be count. I know this is, and then I can basically read. Copy, paste. I don't know why that didn't copy. That was weird. And then this last column, which I'll open up a little bit, is going to be the average per claim paid. Now that kind of looks silly, doesn't it? And so I'm going to make it all consistent. It's good to do it now. There, I'll get rid of all the fill. I'll make sure that all of the These are the same there. There we go. And I will also wrap text. There we go. So this is at an 8. This is at a 10. Let's put it at an 8. Might as well stay consistent. Okay, there we go. And obviously fiscal year, too big, so I'll shrink that down a little bit. Count is too big, so I'll shrink that down a little bit. It messes up this, but so I can adjust that as I want to copy and paste. The fiscal years we have are very few. We have fiscal year, let's call it 2020. No, let's call it 2019, 2020, 2021. Didn't have to do that. Fiscal year 2019, 2020, and then 2021, and then we have a very new partial year. Okay. Now the question is, do we have an actual column with the fiscal years, or do we have to create it? We need to create it. So first thing we have to do is resort by, we can use the unique identifier. So highlight row 1, data, filter. I'm going to hit, I'm just going to do smallest to largest here, because I know that these are all lined up. It's probably easiest to insert a column right next to lost date, and we'll call this fiscal year. First fiscal year is 2019. Type it twice. Oh, what are you doing? All right, we got to turn this into general. There we go. See, sometimes Excel gets cute and it tries to guess what you want for formatting, and it's typically wrong. And so we have to go in and change it. So I got a pattern of 2019, so then I can click and drag. If I just did one, it would try to count up. And so what I'm looking for now is 2020 to May 31st. Oh, past it. Goes to right there. Now we're going to go 2020. Okay, so, I mean, you would say, oh, is there a quicker way to do this? Well, but this is something we've created. We created fiscal years in order to match the beginning of our data set so that we can get some full years. Otherwise, we would be very limited in what we could do. So 2021 twice. And this goes till May of 2022, right there. And now we'll have a very incomplete 2022 here. But we do that, we still count it. Okay, there we go. Now we got everything. It's under column C. I'm gonna cruise back over here. It didn't affect anything here. And so this is going to be column C. Count. So we go equal count if. When you type in count if and then put in one of the parentheses here, it gives you a range and a criteria. So our range is C2 to C626, right? 626. And I mean, you might be like, well, how do you know that's it? Okay, well, let's go take a look. So it's highlighted. So it's highlighted the entire column, well, at least the data. The data, I'm going to scroll so it goes faster, of our fiscal year. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have it count every time it finds one of our fiscal year entries. So I'm going to go comma, and then I'm going to click on the cell with 2019, hit return. So now you'd probably think, oh, no, I can just click and drag this down. But here's the problem. I got to do a total to check it. Remember, we want to make sure it's 625 equals sum. And then click and drag to oh, I highlighted one too many. Oh, come on. Hold on, I gotta, yeah, I know. It's only supposed to go down to 663. There. So it is correct, however, it's not. So this right here is C2 to 626, but if I go down one more, it's now C3 to 627. I go down one more, it's C4 to 628. And then, okay, so here's what we do. We have to freeze the range. And you do that by using dollar signs. So if I go up to my equation and go C $2 and C $626, and then click and drag that down. Now, if I click down here, see, it's still 2 and 626. And as I drag down, you know, it's checking S6660, which is right here. I'll double click so you see it. It's right there. If I double click here, it's now that one next to it. So we wanted the criterion to move as a click and drag, but we didn't want the range to change. All right. So we use count here because we are counting an entry. Now what we want to do is add. And what we're going to do is we're going to go equal sum if. Sum if has this criteria. So you give it the range and the criteria. It's going to be the same as this. But then you let it know what you want it to add up should this criterion be met. Okay? So the range is C2 to C626, comma, and now we're in column U. So we're going to go U2 to U. Where the streets have no name. Okay, and then, so now we hit return. Spill? What are you talking spill? Oh, I forgot to put in a criterion. So the criterion is this, and then comma, and hit return. So let's take a look at this. So it's adding up whatever is in this column when this column's criterion is met. And so if we were to sort it, it would still give us the same answer because it is set up that way. So if we want to use this, first of all, I'm going to turn it into a currency. Get rid of the pennies. So I need to put dollar signs in front of the 2 and 626 because I'm going to click and drag this, and I'll show you in a minute how that works. For the criterion, I only need to put the dollar sign in front of the S because I want it to go up and down, but as I go left to right, I want it to stay in that column. For this final one, what I wanted to add up, I want the 2 to 626 to stay the same, but I want the U to change. So if I click over here, I want it to take from V. When I bring it to here, I want to move it to W. So hit return. So it's the same number, but now what I can do is click down and click over. So just by enter, what didn't I do right? Why is that a 0? So I have to put the dollar sign in front of the C's as well because I'm moving around. See, you just gotta test it. Click that down, doesn't change, but click that over and it works. And then let's do the totals. So we did a count if and a sum if. Why do I keep doing that? I don't know why I keep dragging down like that. Does this match? It does. Let's move this over. Does that match? It does. Okay, so I know that it equals what it's supposed to by adding up what's here. This is just a sorting of the data by fiscal year entry, which we created. The average per claim is pretty easy. We just go equal total amount divided by the count. Get rid of the pennies. And we can see the average per claim. And that should be the same as this. It is. So there's the checkpoint right there. So this is our data sorted by fiscal year, and it's all. All right, let's do some graphing to kind of look at it. There's the table. If I want to make it look pretty, I highlight it. Go up to format as a table. I'm going to try using this one and see what happens. Hit OK. And then I can get rid of the filters by going to data and remove it. There. So that's not great, but it's something. And before I'd copy and paste it, I would definitely narrow some of the columns. Because it's a wider column, I want to make sure that it'll fit on the page. Graphing's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get when you copy and paste. All right. Now, we're going to be adding on to this in a little bit, but I want to do the graphing now and then see where we are for time. Old Excel made it a lot easier that if you had two things right next to each other, you could highlight them both, go to Insert, Scatter Plot. It's called Insert Scatter. Just do the regular one. And here you've got the graph. Here's the problem. We're graphing by year, fiscal year, but we know that this year is basically, there's barely anything there. So it's not fair to put it on here without extrapolating. So what I'm going to do is I'm only going to graph the 3 years that are complete. All right, so there's our count by year. We need to do some manipulation to it, but I'm going to do all the manipulation at once. So let's do the total paid. Actually, we can do total paid and everything else. We're going to do this differently. I'm going to highlight total paid and go just the 3 years we have. Go to Insert, Scatter Plot. So here, but here's the thing. Here's the trick. We don't have the year, the fiscal year here. So I'm going to right-click on a button, a dot, hit Select Data, and that's going to give me the window I need in order to manipulate this. So if I click on Total Paid and go Edit, the series name is already selected. If I was to do the X values, I would just highlight these 3 numbers, hit the window to add it, hit OK, and hit OK. And now it's there. So we've got count and total paid. It may be of interest to also do all of these, and I think we'll do them at least initially. So here's how we do that. Right click on a dot, bring up your select data. We're going to add. In the same window comes up, but there's nothing here. So for the name, I'm going to put in paid medical. For the X values, I'm going to put in 19, 20, 21. And for the Y values, I'm going to do the 3 years of medical paid. Hit OK. I'm going to add another one. Same thing, but this time I'm going to do paid indemnity. I'm going to add the X values, which are the years, and I'm going to add the Y values, which are the paid amounts. Hit OK. And the last one, but definitely not least, is the paid expenses. I have to add the X values. So if you remember doing, trig type work in school, it's kind of what we're doing here. Hit OK. Hit OK. So now we've got all the paid amounts. The last one I want, we could do the paid average, I suppose. It's not as important as the other ones, but let's do it. Insert. I mean, you guys need the practice, right? With this one though, oh, geez, where did I go? Did I go too far? Oh, it's just right here. Not a big deal. And we can move these around too. Right click on a button, select data, edit, and I just have to add the X values. Excel used to be a lot easier to do graphing. For whatever reason, it does this now. All right, so now you'll notice that the x-axes have half years. And so if we click on the axis and then right click, and we go to Format Axis, a window on the right should open. There it is. So it's got the min and the max. Major is 0.5. I'm just going to turn that to 1 and hit return, and it fixed it. Here's another thing I want to do though, is I want to add a trend line. So if I right click on a dot and hit add trend line, I want it to be linear. I want it to go forward a year. Should I do 2 years? I'll do 2 years. Forward 2 years. And I want to display the R value. Okay. That's what I wanted to do for that one. So that's the trend. And the trend, based on these 3 years, it's going to continue to go up. The R value kind of indicates the strength of it. The closer to 1, the better the best fit line hits the dots. The closer to 0, the worse. That's a pretty good number. 0.85 is pretty good. So let's see what ends up here. So we're going to, first I'll fix the bottom. Right click, Format Access, turn the 0.5 into a 1, hit return. And then I'll do a best fit line, or a trend line. It's called a best fit line. I'm going to go forward 2 years and provide the Y, or provide the R. I'll do the same thing with the red. And I should add a legend, right? So we can see what it is. You could add the equation if you wanted. I don't really see the value in that right now. Go forward 2 years, give me the R squared. And finally the purple, which I believe is the legal and stuff. 2 r square. Okay, so I do think we need a legend. And I really like it when it's down below, to be honest with you. There. And then I think what I can do is turn the size of this into something very small. Like if I was to go with like a 6. That's a little better, right? Yeah. When there's multiple lines on there, you have to indicate what they are. Now the average, let's just make this look nice. And we're going to format axes, turn this into a 1, hit return. And then I'm going to right click on a button, add a trend line, go forward 2 years, because that brings it to fiscal year 2023. And then r square it. Yeah. Okay. So this is all the data. And so this will be the basis for which we judge when we do the outlier removal. It's fairly easy to do, but I'm going to show you. So first of all, I need to save my work. So I'm going to do a file, save as, and okay, this is the week 2, and instead of outliers, I'm going to put in there trend analysis, hit save. All right, so I'm going to highlight all this data, hit copy, new tab, paste. Now what I'm going to do, since I'm already up here, I'm going to highlight the first row and I'm going to turn on the filter. And I'm going to filter by total paid high to low. And I should have my numbers over here for my outliers. There they are. So we're going to do 19. So I'm going to highlight the first 19. There. It goes to 20. It's 19 plus 1 because 1 is the row. I'm going to do a Control X to cut, just like we did before. Scroll to the bottom. And it looks like I've got some space right here. So I may as well go ahead and put them in right here. All right. Is that still correct? Yep. I'm going to move these down. So I'm going to highlight the row with the totals there and go Insert. And go Control Y to repeat it a little bit. I'm going to try to get them off the screen because I want that room to repeat. There we go. It's going to keep going, but that's all right. Let's zoom this in so you can actually see it. So here are my figures. So the figures didn't change. They remained the same because they're based on the data on the previous tab. Now I'm going to do trend 19 outliers removed. Use an abbreviation. Let's see here. But what I can do now, this has been updated. All right. So these were the original totals. This is the new totals. And I can go up here and see what the new totals are. So now we're at N606. So the total number up there is 606. But we get new. Now we just have to recreate. So these are original. So this is count, but I need to add figures and stuff. This is count all claims. I need to add a title to this one, and I'm gonna have to make this one bigger, obviously. Let's try to get the axes to kind of line up. So I'm gonna add a title, not axes title, chart title. This is benefits paid all claims. I don't know why I capped all the alls, don't do that. And this is the average per claim, all claims, okay? So we're gonna see how removing the outliers affects the best fit line, specifically for the claims benefit, because the count is already very good and it's just gonna probably continue to stay good. So let's redo this. So I'm gonna do these 3 years. Insert scatter plot. And I mean, this is kind of helping you as well. And we're going to put it right down here so we can compare it. I might as well just go ahead and fix these. Format axis, turn the major ticks into 1, hit return. I'm going to do a hello. Hello. Why Why are you not? That's weird. Why would you not allow me there? Okay. I didn't panic, I swear. I'm at a trend line. Go forward 2 years and add my R squared. Did it improve? So we went from an 8.4, so it went down a tiny bit. It looks like the things we removed may have been, a majority of them may have been in 2020. Okay. But still, it's still, 0.8 is really high up there. So the one that I'm most interested in is the total paid. Highlight the total paid amount, insert scatter plot. It's definitely trending down, but we'll have to check. I think in the next video, we're going to check the breakdown of outliers and stuff like that. So we're already at 26 minutes, and I just kind of want to get this done for you. I'm going to just go ahead and select data. Total paid edit. We need this window. I click on that. I get my years. Hit OK. Should I just add them all? I may as well. We're here. Series name, medical paid, X values, the years, Y series, the medical amounts. Hit OK. Add. This one's paid indemnity. X values. We're going to be doing a lot of this later, so it's good that you get the practice right now. Indemnity's a lot less there. And why would it? Because we removed the highest paid indemnity claims. That's why. The name is paid X and amounts. Hit OK. All right. So now this one's done. Let's go ahead and fix it. See if this one gives us more trouble than the other one. Didn't. Right click on a dot, add trend line. Go ahead 2 years, give us the R square. Add trend line. Forward 2 years, R squared. The green. Add trend line, forward 2 years, R squared, and then finally the purple. Add trend line, forward 2 years, R square. Look at that. So let's see how things changed. So our total paid was, the R square was 0.14, let's say 2, I'll round up. Now it's 0.967. Do you see? This is why we remove outliers. Here it looks like in 2023 the total pay is going to be about 600,000 with the outliers removed. It looks like it's going to be about 170,000 maybe. So it's a lot less, and the decline is more direct. It's more specific. You can see how much it's going down. But it's a better best fit line, and the paid medical, which is the second most expensive category, 0.78, which is very good, and before it was 0.0005. So removing outliers tends to give us a better R square, which means the best fit line is a better trend line for forecasting than when we have everything in there. But there's been a lot of stuff removed, and that's why it did it that, and that's why everything kind of goes down. It's really interesting that the green basically goes to 0. That wouldn't happen, obviously. It's just that's the way the trend is. It's better when we have more dots because that makes the R square a little more significant. With only 3, it's pretty easy to achieve high numbers. But this has given us something we can use, something we can, extend. Okay, so there's things we have to do now. We have to add both a chart title and a legend. And then, you know how I like to put the legend on the bottom. And then we'll shrink the size of the font. Let's put in a 6. I think that's what I did before. Yeah. And then I can extend this down a little to try to line up the axes. I went too far. I could bring you down a little bit too. So add chart title. I'm going to let you go ahead and do the average. It's the same thing. It's going to be, I mean, the top is it's going to go down quite a bit because the count didn't go down much. The count went down by 19. The overall total paid was reduced by 1,500,000 or 1.5 million. So it went from 2.45 to 9. So you can see the average is going to go down considerably due to that. But it gives us again, the average started out at 39.22, dropped down to 1,500. So it's going to be more around that. Median is at 2.8. Did you see what we've done? Yeah, so that's what we're doing. So the count includes the $0 claims. The total paid benefits isn't really affected by that. The average per claim, yeah, sure. The number would come down even. The number would go up, actually. The average would go up if we took out the $0 claims. As you can see here, it went from a 5,571 down to 2,000. Yeah, that's what it changed to. So this is only 500 apart. This is, 1,500 apart, and that's what it does. So we're at about a half hour. I don't like to go too much longer than that. So in the next one, what I'm going to do is I'll come in with this being different. We could actually explore additionally how we might take out more outliers to see how it changes things. But everything seems to be kind of trending down. So the more we take out, the more it's going to go towards zero. Really, it is what it is. But there are going to be claims within. There are going to be claim types within this data set that will probably demonstrate a trend consistent or a trend up. So all this says is, how is the safety program performing? Well, it appears that the number of claims per year is going up, but it appears that the cost of claims are going down at this point. Of course, we look at this and it looks like a level line. The average seems to be going down too. So we just got to find out where to focus. That's what the rest of the analysis is going to attempt to do. Figure out where to focus, what it means for forecasting them, and how much the company could save should they invest into corrections. Yeah, all right. I'll see you in the next video.